Hello, I'm Meg Salyer and I represent Ward 6 for the City of Oklahoma City. We have a fantastic opportunity today to meet my friend Kelly Payne, who is the Yard Liaison. I think it's a great title. I may try to steal that for the Oklahoma City National Stockyards. And Kelly's going to share with us some great history about the stockyards. To me, it's a real hidden gem in Oklahoma City, and most people don't know much about it. So perhaps we could start with a little history, and then we'll move to today, because the things that folks don't know about the activity, I think they'll find fascinating. So let's start with the history, if you don't mind.
Great. Well, and thank you so much for having me on. It's the stockyards is very important to me. I've been on and off the yard since I was 5 years old, so grew up on the brick, so it's very dear to my heart. The story of the stockyards, our city fathers in 1910, we were a very young state, had a vision. And
we were 3 years old at the time.
Just a baby. And they were looking at what Oklahoma City had to offer for other industry. And they had seen the packing houses had a huge stake in Chicago and St. Louis and Omaha, Nebraska. So they sent letters out inviting these packing companies to come down. We had an ample workforce, plenty of wide open space. And they took interest, and when they came down, the story is that it took them 2 days to get from downtown to where the stockyards is now. The raging river and sand burrs and sand plum thickets and just a mess. Of course,
cross timbers, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and the story is they used the only automobile in Oklahoma City to get there. So just a really interesting story. But they got there and they saw what they fell in love with it and said, yes, this is where we want to do business.
Kelly, it sounds so much like today, finding industry that we want to bring to the city, recruiting them to come, having them come visit and see what we have to offer, the quality of life we have, and attracting them here. It sounds just like today's world.
We love it when they fall in love with it. Once we can get them here, we can kind of trap them. So it works out well.
That's awesome.
And the packing companies, they knew what they could bring to Oklahoma City. But they wanted some things from Oklahoma City as well. And so much like today, and I know everyone has worked really hard to get industry to come into Oklahoma City, the city had to offer some incentives. So kind of played some hardball here. The packing houses wanted 5 years exempt from city taxes. They wanted free water, 350,000 gallons of water a day. Wanted that free for 5 years. And then they wanted a little cash. So I know that's not done today, but...
well, for those that think incentives are a brand new idea, let's go back 100 years to recruiting the packing houses, and there's a story to tell there as well, and look what a success it's been. So
yes, it's been great. We're entering our 108th year, and the stockyards itself is still just as viable to our industry today as it was then. We don't have the packing houses anymore, just because our industry changed. But what we got from that is the whole business district that sprung up virtually overnight to offer services to the gentlemen and women that worked there, whether it was restaurants or libations, but we had a post office, fire station, everything that they needed was there. Rail car was there, street cars ran through Stockyard City. Our oldest metropolitan library is located there, the Wright Library.
That Wright Library is the sweetest thing, and I'm always happy to see. I know we've just done some renovations down there and had a ribbon cutting not very long ago, and it's still actively used by the community.
Yes.
Some of our finest dining opportunities are along Main Street. I think everybody, knows Stockyards for Cattleman's and for Langston's. We've, now got McClintock across the street. We're seeing an explosion of opportunities. But some of those, I think many of those traditional purveyors, we've got the saddlery businesses, and we've got food, for animals, and we've got, it's a very authentic place, which I think is really important, and the Main Street piece of it attached to the business end of it, I think is one of the things that certainly makes it so unique.
Right. Yeah, and it's fun for me to think about. That whole area is brick, And the pens itself on the yards is 70 acres with a brick bottom, which is fascinating.
Wow.
And to think that that was done, so many years ago and still usable to this day. We average around 400,000 head of cattle that go through there every year. We have sales on Monday and Tuesday, but we have a great partnership with the district.
So can I ask about that? Can people come down and watch the sales?
You bet, you bet. We have a separate viewing platform, and you go across the historic catwalk, which places you looking down over the pens of cattle. And once you get past over the catwalk, you can go right into the sale barn, which used to be the hay barn. We've only had live auctions since '62.
Okay.
Everything was traded over the pens, but you can stand and watch, and it's. A lot of folks are confused at first because there's a lot of fast talking with the auctioneer, but a lot of times folks are very happy to visit with you and explain what's going on. So we kind of take it for granted that this is our weekly, it's our job, and so we forget the tourist draw that it is. But I know just last week, we were in June, they were talking about, I'll have folks holler at me and say, hey, there's some visitors or international guests. We had 17 different countries come through and watch the sale in 24 hours.
Well, I just think that's absolutely
fascinating.
incredible. I'm not sure, in what other location, probably the Memorial.
Right.
And maybe the National Cowboy Museum, but what other location is going to draw in a week's time or over a weekend people from 17 different countries to experience something?
Well, and that's a testament to what Oklahoma City has also done to draw tourism in for the whole city. And we're blessed to have such unique districts, and with Stockyards City, Main Street being one of those as well, that it's marketed very well. But I feel like folks, like you said earlier, it's authentic, and it's a step back into maybe into the past, but it's also something that isn't seen very often. And another interesting fact about stockyards, it is the only working stockyards left of that size that's directly tied to a business district that's also on the National Register of Historic Places.
I was going to ask you that because I think most people, when you think about a National Stockyards, people automatically think Fort Worth.
Right.
But Oklahoma City has much more to offer than even does Fort Worth.
Yes.
As an experience.
Sure, in Fort Worth, no detriment to our neighbors to the south, but we are a working yard that, week in and week out, farmers and ranchers are bringing in cattle. I had some travel writers in from Chicago that have actually spent most of their life in Europe a few months ago, and they stopped literally in the middle of the street, and I thought, oh my land, something's wrong, and I said, is everything okay? And she said, this is the real deal. She said, I've been to Deadwood, I've been to Fort Worth, I've been to Tombstone, this is authentic. And it didn't help, or it didn't hurt that it was after a sale, so there was still a bit of an aroma of money in the air.
It's just so much fun. I think it's really an exciting opportunity. And so we've got a group of folks that have been really interested in adding to that experience and converting our little park right down along the river's edge into a horse park. And I know you've been involved in those conversations.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about maybe what that looks like and kind of what are you thinking?
We're blessed to have the partnerships that we have with the Main Street and with the city and CVB. But with the advent of the park, one of the things that we've already done at the stockyards that folks probably didn't know about is if livestock is being transported across the United States, with us being America's crossroads, we have facilities to place horses or cattle for feed, water, and rest, and let them stretch their legs and get off the trailer. So we're excited about working with the equestrian park, whether it's stalling horses or things like that.
That's something I had no idea about. So how many horses can you accommodate?
Well, we have approximately 70 acres of pens.
Wow.
Now we do accept cattle 24/7, so we have holding capacity for 25,000 head of cattle, if that puts it in perspective. Yeah, so
that does put it in perspective. Right in the middle of, basically in the middle of downtown Oklahoma City.
Yes.
You can have 25,000 head of cattle.
It's unique. When I walk across that catwalk, you're almost eye level with I-40, and I think how many cars are just going by and have no idea it's right here. But one of the unique things about the stockyards, with the sales that run late into the night or early morning, I've walked across that catwalk facing the Devon Tower, and it's such a beautiful view of a city skyline with the moon right above it, and I think, wow, I wish everyone could experience this.
Well, we're going to try to make that happen
Yay!
in a lot of ways. But you mentioned it, and so I would be remiss as we begin to wrap up if we didn't talk a little bit about the Devon River cruisers.
Yes.
That travel the Oklahoma River from the Meridian Hotel corridor down to Bricktown. And we received notice recently that we've just received a federal transportation grant to finally be able to build a landing there at Stockyards, right at the edge of the river.
It's a testament to everything that everyone has worked for, to have that as a new exciting hub and to add value for the existing merchants that are there and for our international and our local residents, you know, our guests. So we invite everyone to come down and enjoy it and kind of take a walk back in time and see where the West still lives.
Well, I think, you know, the local focus is really what I wanted to share, because I do think it's just not something that's on front of mind to our residents.
Sure.
So, you know, we want to encourage everybody to come down, but the added plus, and as we begin to see the river develop along that corridor, and as we begin to see construction begin again on the Native American Cultural Center, I think there is such a natural fit. And your image of seeing the moon rising with the Devon Tower in the background, imagine being on horseback.
Sure.
And being able to, you know, pick up a horse and ride down to the cultural center and experience some of that, ride back to the Stockyards. I know that the group working on the equestrian park would like to see some opportunity for cookouts and entertainment and, you know, not Disneyland.
Sure.
But
we're going to keep it real.
real Western experience. But I think there just is an opportunity to see more of these kinds of linkages that work for our local citizens, but, you know, will be an incredible tourist draw as well. So
I agree.
And one of the things, you wear a hat a lot,
Yes.
and you wear multiple hats, and so I think it's also a great time to see the connection being made between the yard and the Stockyards Main Street program. And I, you know, just have to tip my hat to the folks that made the application so many years back. Stockyards was the first urban Main Street program in the state and continues to operate that way. As you alluded to, it provides great marketing opportunities. It provides you know, connections between the businesses, and allows just them to get the word out in a better way. And you've got new things. Movies.
Yes, the movie theater is
like
exciting, and of course Radio Opry, they do a great job with their Saturday night performances, and a lot of great unique merchants, sole proprietors, made in Oklahoma products that you won't find anywhere else, and they've done a
Remind us about the
fantastic
Opry.
job.
Is it only Saturday nights?
Yes, Saturday nights. Yes, at 7 o'clock, and the theater's coming along wonderfully. In fact, they just renovated the interior, and they had an Opry performance there last week, and it was wonderful.
So there'll be Opry performances continuing Saturday, and the school.
Yes, Granville School of
Granville
Music.
School is still there, so that's a wonderful opportunity to introduce young folks that might not have the chance to playing instruments. And then the new add-on that we're talking about is I guess a partner to the Circle Theater in Tulsa.
Yes.
That will be coming to Stockyards and maybe have as many as 3 screens. So
it's just very exciting time. It's very exciting in Cowtown right now.
Well, it is. We'll call it Cowtown. We'll call it what I'm fascinated with the yard and the bricks. I can't get over the size of the brick underlay, and
it's incredible.
To count 25,000 head of cattle, I'm just stunned. But thank you for all the work you do.
Thank you. Well, we appreciate what the city's done, and we just keep moving forward, and we're making everything so great and wonderful, and very proud to be a citizen of Oklahoma City.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.